Warning, the following video contains spoilers. If you don't want this episode spoiled for you, switch the video off now. Hello listeners, or viewers if the video is actually working this week, and welcome to this week's My Hero Academia review. I want to know what you thought about this week's episode of My Hero Academia. Did you love it? Did you hate it? Let me know in the comment section down below, whichever website you're watching it on, and I'll get back to you shortly, either directly in the comments themselves or towards the end of next week's video. And be sure to like, favourite, subscribe, and do all the YouTubey stuff that YouTube wants you to do, because YouTube's an increasingly scary place for small content creators. Support your local small content creator today. It does them a power of good. This week we're starting to get a clearer idea as to what Gentle Criminal's motivations and personality really is. If this was a game of D&D, this guy, in my opinion, will probably be true neutral. He sees himself as being a levelling force, wanting perfect balance with the universe. His grand scheme is to seemingly cause such a rumpus and a scene that it's going to level the playing field and make heroes and villains more like they used to be, more like just different shades of vigilante. He sees himself being a park ranger doing a controlled burn on a piece of forest under the pretense that that'll make that forest grow bigger and greater and stronger than ever before. Even though, given his appearance, his lack of much technical know-how, this seems to be all motivated more by nostalgia for an earlier time, more so than it actually feels to be motivated by something tangible and real. He seems to be more motivated by his own feelings rather than a sense of, oh yes, I know for certain that if I do something horrible that's going to get people talking, it's only going to make the world be like what I want it to be, which is an interesting idea. He is a sociopath, and I hope I'm using that word correctly. He thinks that he can solve the world in a way that is very, we'll say, questionable to say the very least. And of course he's taken a massive leap of faith that his plan will actually work and have the end result he's looking for, that it won't somehow steal the resolve of heroes to make them even more heroic than ever before, or that somehow it'll end up backfiring so horribly it'll probably end up leaving him and Labava either imprisoned or most likely killed, given that Eri's now on campus and we know how scary her quirk can be. And I have to say, I really did enjoy the little gag about him going on his YouTube page and finding a video that had been there for over a month and had only just managed to get 50 views. Yeah, I could appreciate that, because I have videos on this very channel that after 8 years still haven't made it past 5 views. So the struggle is real. Mr. the Criminal, the Gentle Criminal, I could see where you're coming from, and I understand your pain. The preparations for the big UA festival are coming along swimmingly. They're going about as well as one would hope to in a television programme like this. I have to say that whilst in previous weeks this was my favourite part of the episode, this week isn't, mostly because it feels a little bit weaker than what we've had before. Yes, I can kind of see that the reason part of why that will be is because they're getting a little bit more focused now, they're getting a little more prepared, they're getting a little bit more close to the actual date of it. So all the wacky fun stuff of people in those kind of situations, you know, figuring stuff out and having laughs and jokes and having general banter, that stuff is going to go away. I understand that, I get that, I can support that. But at the same time, it feels as though there's something missing here. And to be fair, that's mostly due to the fact that this week's episode is centred around Gentle Criminal, as well as Eri being taken onto campus. The stuff with the extended cast having fun and goofing around while they're trying to figure out this big performance thing, yeah, I get why it's not more of a focus, but I kind of wish it had been, because it's generally the stuff that I find a little bit more interesting than the whole "we've got to stop all for one and the League of Villains." Oh! Like that stuff, yeah, that's the meat and potatoes of the show. But I like a little bit of lettuce. I like some peas. I like some chips. I like some variety to things. Variety. It's the spice of life. And of course, the stuff with Eri was suitably cute and fun. It was nice to see more of her character now that she doesn't look like she's a post-apocalyptic survivor. But you know what, I'll certainly say this, that it wasn't, I think it worked better as a vehicle for us to actually see more of the very extended class, seeing what's happening in the different other classes, seeing what's happening with Hatsumi, seeing what their plans are for the festival, and seeing where they are in their life. We don't see much outside of Class 1A when it comes to UA, so spending a little bit of time with them is always welcome, particularly as I feel that some of those cast members may end up becoming more relevant as the series itself progresses and we go forward. It was neat, it was fun, it was nice to see Hatsumi and just how chuffing mental she can be. You know, it adds a little bit more variety. I like these big personalities when it comes to programs like this. It really adds more personality itself to the program itself. Again, I think the stuff with Eri, whilst it was cute, it didn't really feel to me as it was giving us much of an interesting angle to the episode as much of the stuff with Gentle Criminal really did. But anyway, that is my general thoughts about the episode itself, so let's get into the overview for my overall thoughts and impressions and whether or not I thought this episode was any good or whether I thought it was just one long, boring nightmare. Okay, so now the overview, what do I think about the episode as a whole? And as a whole, I think it's a perfectly serviceable episode. I don't think it's as strong as other episodes we've had thus far in this particular story arc, and it certainly isn't the most interesting episode we've had this season. It does the job, it gets the grade, it gets the thumbs up. I have to say that I don't think it's as good as the previous couple episodes because all the stuff that I found interesting in those, the stuff with the school prep for the festival, it's not really in this episode that much, and as such, all the humour and character development moments we get from that feels a little bit weaker here. It feels as though we're starting to bring Midoriya back into the focus of this show a little bit more, which, yeah, it's his show, but I do like this show being an ensemble cast rather than just the Midoriya show. I understand why it is, but we all the same, you know. It's nice to see the other characters and see what they're doing, but this week it kind of felt like they were there just because they're there and it's a school thing. The stuff with Gentle Criminal was the most interesting stuff with this week's episode. Though if I'm going to be honest with you, I'm still not 100% sure what his plan is. We've heard everything about his plan up from the moment pretty much that he leaves his house, goes for a coffee, or rather a cup of tea, because he's definitely a tea man. We've bloody established that he's a tea man. You know, everything from his house to going to that cafe to him getting to UA. We don't know what he's going to do when he's there. Again, his big plan is to level the playing field and take the world back to what he sees as being a simpler and more honourable period, which I don't necessarily agree with. I mean, from everything we know of that particular era, what little we know about the era of post-Quark emergence and the heroes and villains of that era, it wasn't a nice period. So the fact he's wanting to go back to there, yeah, it's motivated by nostalgia and some kind of false sense of honour and glory in an age where no one really knew who was a villain and who was a hero, but you know, we'll see exactly what his plan is. Again, I feel it's going to backfire horribly, either will even ending with his or his partner's death, or them both getting imprisoned. The best case scenario is that they both get imprisoned. Worst case scenario is it freaks Harry out and somehow there's a warp in the space-time continuum that only the Doctor can sort out. No, not the creepy Doctor that's in this that looks like an off-brand version of Dr. Robotnik. I mean, our Doctor! Doctor Who! Oh, blimey, we've got the series finale of that coming up in the next couple of days, so we'll see how that goes. But anyway, what do you think about this week's episode of My Hero Academia? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Leave me a comment in the comment section down below, and I'll get back to you shortly, either in the comments themselves or towards the end of next week's video. And be sure to like, favorite, subscribe, and do all the YouTube stuff that YouTube wants you to do. Click the bell and all that kind of stuff if you like this video, because YouTube is an increasingly scary place for small content creators. Support your local small content creator today. It does their main power of good. Anyway, that's enough from me from now. Let's hope the video stuff is actually working. We'll see how that goes. Thank you for watching, and goodbye!